You know, the problem is my watch is in military time, so I can't read military.
Not Russell Adams time.
I know, but I'm in the middle of a conversation. My watch is in military time, and I can never tell the time after it gets to 12 noon. It changes to 13.
All those extra digits and everything.
Yeah, so it's right now it's 20:25.
No.
I don't know what it is.
Russell Adams time.
Adams Russell. Right now we're talking with Barry Marshall and the Rockin' Robins, and Barry and Ellie Marshall, a sister and brother, right?
That's
Ellie,
true.
I never met you. I've met Beth and
I met you before. You don't remember.
That was in my drug period. That was when I was
Matzo ball days.
Matzo ball soup days. And Beth, now you guys do all original music usually, right? Most of your stuff is original, but you also do cover stuff. I've heard you do cover stuff.
Well, occasionally when somebody comes up to me at the end of a show and asks me to sit in with somebody like Steve Tyler, I'll do a cover song.
Yeah, what he's talking about, what Barry's talking about is last year we did a benefit for AIDS research, and we brought Barry in with Steven Tyler at the end. It was a pretty nice show. That was a good show. That was a good.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was tense up until that point, but that made my night at the end.
Yeah, it was great. Anyway, you used to be with the Marshalls, of course, and then Berlin Airlift.
Right.
How long were you with them?
I played with them in a temporary version for about 6 months, and I played. That's what we call the suitcase band, where I played suitcases instead of drums.
What's that mean?
Well, I played basically like drums and percussion on a set of suitcases. I had like 4 different sizes of suitcases, and I put microphones inside each one.
Somebody was saying that they have it's set up now where you can actually put stuff inside your pants and your shoes, so that on stage, this is true. I heard this on the news today. You dance around on stage and you hit your pants and you can actually play drums.
I've been doing that for years.
The future of rock and roll is home shopping. The future of rock and roll is going to be like nobody's going to have to play anything. They're just going to
sit there and just program stuff.
Think about it.
Boy, is that going to be boring. Anyway, let's see. You guys played at the Channel Metro last year. Made a Christmas tape with us, BCN. I remember that. And
right.
You're going to make another one to what are you going to do with the profits for it?
Governor's Alliance Against Drugs.
Why are all these groups coming out against drugs when
they're kind of
that's what got
covering
everybody...
their tracks, as they say. No, I think that a lot. Actually, I said this last year when we presented the tape to the governor, and there was like a press conference, and the governor out of nowhere said, "Well, Barry, why don't you say a few words?"
Yeah.
And it was like, off the top of my head, I said, and I meant it sincerely, that a lot of musicians for years have had this image of drugs, and a lot of it's true, but a lot of it isn't true. And a lot of musicians are really hard working, and they don't get appreciated for that.
You mean the musicians are people think of them, they put them
the
in the
image of the
category
musicians
as
as they're on drugs, and it's all fun.
Yeah.
And the image that I try to present myself is that it can be fun, but it's a lot of work, and it's there's no time for drugs.
It's weird how it trickles down, isn't it? Like they say in California, they have the styles first, and then eventually they make their way out to the East Coast. And the same thing happened, I think, with the drug scene. California was into grass first, and then it got to Massachusetts a few years later. Cocaine first, California was into it, and then it became real popular in all across the country in New England. And especially, it's obviously it began in the entertainment industry. They were always the first. Musicians are first. You guys are first.
Right.
Then the entertainment industry was second. We get the drugs second, and
now that all the bankers and everything are into it,
I know. After we found out that cocaine was for do, and it was just really a killer. We all gave it up, or most of us gave it up. The ones who didn't, either dead or on their way to being dead, and now doctors and the lay people are picking it up. So now, like I read in the
straight
paper
world,
today, 40% of doctors, of all young doctors, take cocaine. Isn't that really encouraging to know when you go in for an operation, you're going to hear them say scalpel. Rubber gloves, mirror, razor blade, please. I had a late night last night, nurse. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, I'd like to. I also hate the idea of being in the same side of any kind of philosophy as Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, right?
That's my own personal feeling. I just don't like to be in the same. But in this issue, I think I just don't believe that he means it when he says he's against drugs. Because one of the reasons people are going to drugs, especially in ghettos and stuff, is because he's taken away all their livelihood and all their. Let them go out and work for a living.
Well, there's also a big theory that one of the reasons why drugs got established in this country in the first place is because the FBI and all of the law enforcement efforts of the country were chasing communists instead of the mafia.
Yeah, and
that's another whole.
Yeah, there's another legend.
Which one do we have to discuss
There's another legend that says
we can go on and on with this.
Another legend that says that the CIA planted Kool cigarettes into the black ghettos to rid the country of blacks because Kools were the worst cigarettes for you. And it was. I think people are taking that too far. Anyway, Barry, I'd like to check out your video. When did you make it?
We made it a few months ago. I think We came out with it in May. And,
What's the title of it?
She's only fat in her mind.
How did you get that?
It's a song I wrote about every woman I've ever known.
Every woman he's ever known.
And I mean that in the sense that
Anorexic women?
No, I mean like every woman I've ever known, no matter what they look like, thought they were too fat.
That's
You've
kind of
encountered
true.
that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's kind of
Sure,
true.
everyone's like 10 pounds overweight.
Well, actually, if you go to towns like Natick and Sherburne, it's true. But I mean, I'm sorry, just kidding. Why don't we take a look at your video? She's only fat in her mind.
I met this girl, looked like the trick out of bed. Ooh, angel. She said I've gained some weight, don't compare me to the rest. She's an angel. Come on, don't bring that up, I wouldn't know. She said I heard that line before. You think that you are quite the sensitive guy. Ah, but au contraire, here's my reply. You're only fat, you're only fat in your mind. I said, you're only fat, you're only fat in your mind. I tried to talk to her, tell about some girls from the past. In fashion magazines, their styles ain't made to last. Those anorexic types, they're no fun to be. They look so sick and bored, they're no sight to see. What's good enough for Rubens is good enough for me. With Rembrandt, Gauguin, I think I can agree. She's only fat, she's only fat, she's only fat in her mind. Just a limitation. She's only fat, she's only fat, she's only fat in her mind. You know this girl could be any woman I've ever known. They started 10 years old, continue till they are grown. It's just the age you're in, it don't have to be. Can't let it run your life, you will agree. You're not styling all this, I cracked up to be. Give up on being cool, but just let it be. Woo! She's only fat, she's only fat, yeah. She's only fat, she's only fat, yeah. It's in her mind, it's in her mind, it's in her mind. It's in her mind, it's in her mind, it's in her mind. Don't have to be a cosmo girl. More than glamour shouldn't be the whole world. Don't let them tell you what you have to be. You can be yourself, you got to live clear. Your image really has to come from within, yeah. You're not born being cool, that's how you begin, yeah. Respect yourself, keep the faith, hold your head high. You don't have to try. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. They're off the air now, aren't they? Yep, that was Barry and Ellie Marshall and Beth Harrington all together, and that was where was that live at? I saw that audience. Where was it?
Paradise.
The Paradise, huh?
They're good graces. They let us use the Paradise. Very graciously.
Just to make the video?
Yep.
How many people were in there?
Only
the
about
crowd?
12. We kept moving
You
them
said
around.
moving the kid, right?
No, it really was only about 30. You can, you know,
No, it looked like a lot of
you can fake the crowd to look
Yeah.
big. Yeah.
Ellie, you and Beth played with Jonathan Richman, the alleged first punk rocker of all time. What was that like?
That's right. It was fun. Quite an experience.
1, 2, 3, 4. But how's that go?
No, he wouldn't play it. He would never
One
play
tour we
it.
did, though, to teach those punks how to really play the song.
Yeah.
remember?
He used to have a thing about it that he didn't like to play. His
That was the
most
song that
famous
made him famous in
Yeah.
this area. And
He
He wrote it
thought
when
out-
he was 18, though, and he's like 34, 35 now.
He'd get older.
Is that right? He was 18 when he wrote that?
Yeah, that's what he said.
So how's like? I wonder how it feels to be like more famous when you're 18 than when you're 34.
Well, he
I
was
think that has something to do with why he doesn't want to play it, I think.
Oh, he didn't become famous until after? I mean, because that's what I remember him.
Years later.
Oh yeah.
Not till-
No.
He was 22 or something.
Years later? 4 years?
4 or 5 years.
Well, you guys played all over the country with him and
You
stuff.
played all over Europe, too. You guys went to
Right.
Europe, too, right? With what?
All over the US,
Just with Jonathan?
Europe. Yep, in Canada.
What's he doing now?
I think he's doing a little tour right now. With
In
one or two
Hopedale.
people.
He's going to Hopedale, right. He's jetted to Hopedale. Listen, I hope... how old is that video now?
That's just a few months. It was getting a lot of play on D66, but as we probably know, D66 is like history. So now we're seeking other outlets for the video. We're
What
trying to
does,
get into some festivals and stuff too.
Is that how a musician has to make it now? They have to do it like threefold. They have to do it on stage, they have to do it on radio, and then they also have to do it with videos? Is that what it's turned out to be?
Yeah, I think that although supposedly the latest rap about video is that it's not quite as important as it used to be, but I think it's definitely a thing that's going to be here to stay, and I think that a lot of how bands are going to get signed by labels is how they think they look on video.
Yeah. I think videos are pretty far from state of the art, though. I think I get real bored with, watching videos all
Really
the time.
hard to watch them.
And there's just a certain vocabulary that's there now that, like, you have to have, girls in lingerie and certain kind of editing and, cars and it's.
So it's not so much really. It's
It'll
not so
get
much
better.
video.
think?
It's the.
It'd have to get better.
It's the people
hope
doing
so.
it.
It can't stay like this all the time. The only thing I know that got worse was Walt Disney stuff. In other words, the old
animation was
Disney
better.
animation was a lot better than the new animation. But everything else always gets better.
But have you seen Walt Disney Rock videos?
Yeah,
They have those.
DTV.
yeah. I've seen Walt Disney recently. We had a conversation. He was telling me about it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How is he doing now?
He's cold. He's cold.
I thought he wasn't frozen anymore.
No, he's
Didn't he have a
frozen.
costume?
He's still frozen. I want to go over to another subject here. I have to change the subject because I have a friend called. His name is Herb Pettipass, and Herb is a. Oh boy. Again, if you just, by the way, if you just tuned in, I know that's probably because Clemens is whipping the heck out of Toronto. No, Barry Marshall and the Rockin' Robins are with us tonight. Now, that video that we saw, is that, in addition to that, where are you guys going to be playing next?
Tomorrow night we're playing a Best Cruise at near Jimmy's Harborside, Pier 7 at 8 o'clock.
The Frederick Nolan, I think it is.
Yeah, that's what
And the name of the boat is the Frederick Nolan.
Yeah, do you know, when we had the BCN fireworks, I lost my keys.
On the Frederick Nolan?
Yeah.
You want me to look for it?
No. And then the guy who owns the liner saw me looking around for my keys, and he drove me to where the boat was stationed to look for the keys, and he gave me a spotlight and everything.
Was it over in Charlestown, like it?
Yeah, and he was really a nice guy, Frederick Nolan Jr. It was supposed to be.
That's actually right. That's right.
It was
Right.
supposed to be named something else, something really kind of like in boat language, like Thunderbird 6 or something like that. But the guy who owned the company died while they were painting it, and so they just named it after him. So I'm sorry. So you're playing there on the Best Cruise, and then where are you going to be?
We're going to be. I'm not sure the dates yet, but a couple of Sundays in October at Bunratty's, and we're going to be playing. We usually play the Tam in Brookline at least once a month, so
Yeah.
we'll be playing there probably like November. So things are looking up.
Yeah. Well, I wish you guys a lot of luck. I know it's really tough to start off as a. I mean, you guys have been musicians for a long time in the local area.
Fun, but painful.
What is that? Now, Barry, you know not only Stephen Tyler, but you know a lot of the musicians who made it, so to speak, right? Who do you think is the wackiest musician that's famous that people can relate to? Peter Wolf?
Rick James.
Rick James?
He's the wackiest.
Wackier than
You mean
pretty
wackier around
normal.
town? You mean?
Yeah, in real life, in personal life.
I would say Professor Anonymous is the wackiest musician. Actually, he hasn't made it, but he's the wackiest musician.
No, but
I ever
somebody
met.
more famous than him.
They're all completely whacked. I mean, you know.
wacky in their own way.
Everybody who's successful has some form of wackiness into them. That's part of why they're successful, I think. Don't you think?
What were you asking me for? I don't know. Well, listen, I want to thank you guys for coming and being
thank
with
you
us.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll do it again sometime. Let us know how your video makes out.
Great.
And again, she's only fat in her mind. Check it out. It's,
That'll be on a 12-inch too in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be looking for it. Let's have a big hand for it.